Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world and whenever you are tuning into this video. My name is James Porcelli.
I'm Brian Thomas.
And welcome to another very special edition, another weekend edition of Ruthless Talk. Well, we had some stuff to talk about AEW. And we're going to shout them out in just a second. We have some shout outs that we do want to give. But man, this road to WrestleMania has been a lot of things. But I think the one word to describe it, Brian, has been an utter mess as of late with injuries, this Vince McMahon lawsuit. But after what happened last night, things have escalated very, very quickly. And we're going to talk all about SmackDown today. Our plan was to talk a little bit of AEW, kind of recap some stuff about AEW, which we will to a degree. But after what happened last night, there's too much to talk about what happened with SmackDown freaking last night. And we're going to get all into it. But appreciate everybody for tuning in once again. Of course, make sure you guys, you see the banner below, follow us on Instagram, TikTok. That is Ruthless_Talk. And of course, make sure you guys check out our last episode as well. Also, shout out to Richie Mars, Retold and Relived by Richie Mars. They gave us a nice little shout out talking about.
Thank you, fellas.
Thank you, fellas. Appreciate that. As his special guest was Michael, I believe is his name. I hope I'm not botching his name, but from Suplex Media on TikTok. So make sure you guys go check them out on TikTok. And they gave us a little shout out. So we want to give them a shout out right back. So appreciate both of y'all fellas for the shout out and much love and support. So we're going to dive straight into it. Before we get to SmackDown, Brian, I know you've got some shout outs about AEW as of late, as we'll start with that from the jump and we'll get into SmackDown. So Brian, I'll let you have the floor. Some shout outs that you want to give as we're getting closer to AEW Revolution, which we will talk about in the near future. But yeah, man, the floor is yours. Give away your shout outs. Take it away.
Yeah, just a few quick shout outs. Like you said, I mean, there's so much going on with WWE. But yeah, just so on Dynamite, they had a little backstage segment with Darby and Sting and Ricky Starks and Big Bill. I thought was pretty good. Definitely looking forward to that matchup coming up. And then, of course, as you said, Revolution with Sting's last match. Your boy's still trying to get there. Maybe I'll start a GoFundMe if y'all want to send some money my way. But I think that's that's pretty good. At least one of the good storylines over there. I do have to give a little shout out to the Young Bucks. I've never been really that much of a fan at all at the Young Bucks. I'm not trying to throw shade, just not my thing. But I think with them leaning into this EVP and just being just dicks, they find the I don't know if he wasn't a cameraman, he was more like some kind of staff guy, writer, producer, or whatever. They get out of their limo and find the guy like $500, but they're leaning into that, and that's good. And then also Deonna Purrazzo, man. She had a little backstage, I guess it was more like of a vignette, like a backstory with her and Toni Storm. And we've talked at length about Toni Storm. She's doing great stuff with her character. And Deonna Purrazzo, the virtuosa, as she's known. I think she's so far, off to a really good start, man. Really interested in what she's doing and looking forward to that matchup between them two, which is obviously coming. So just a quick shout out to those. I know we haven't talked AEW much, but there's still some stuff going on there. So just a shout out.
Right. Frickin' Tony Khan hasn't went on X or Twitter as of late, so that's always a good sign as well. Right. But yeah, I mean, and we talked about it yesterday, Brian. We were able to meet up yesterday and talk a little bit about it. There is a lot of good things right now in AEW. I mean, Toni Storm, she continues to do their thing. Like you mentioned, the Young Bucks have embraced being the EVPs and kind of playing that type of shtick. Of course, you got Darby and Sting going after tag titles, which they probably could win, by the way, and that could lead into a tag title match with the Young Bucks, and then you'll have the Young Bucks win those tag titles. In regards to that as part of Sting's retirement match, especially a way to, of course, sign Sting out of wrestling for good, as well as continue the shtick with the Young Bucks as tag champs. Now, it's a little ballsy to do with transitioning the titles like that, but that's something that probably could potentially happen in regards to that. But I love the fact that they're just embracing that role because
Yeah,
everybody knows
right.
that they're in this role. You might as well embrace it. I talked
Yep.
about like the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Like they're probably right now the most hated team in football with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and all that stuff. But
All you can do is embrace it, man.
you just like, bro, just
Yep.
embrace it. Everybody hates you. Just embrace it. And that's what the Young Bucks are doing right now. They have this reputation of just, being who they are, the whole shtick with Punk and everything in the past. And they're just embracing being, having a say, having the EVP name. And I think it's freaking great. I think that honestly, when it comes to Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm, and again, like I mentioned, Toni Storm is killing it, and Deonna Purrazzo, she's having good wrestling matches, which is great. By the way, speaking of AEW, Mercedes Moné is being now rumored to be a part of AEW as of right now, with rumors from Dave Meltzer and everything else that she's going to be AEW bound in the near future. Maybe at AEW Revolution, who the hell knows? But that is what's going on in regards to AEW land as well. But yeah, it's just, there is a lot of good things, Brian. It's just, and that's where I kind of also get into, and I won't, go too far in depth into this, but this whole world title situation with Samoa Joe, you got Hangman Adam Page, and you got Swerve Strickland. Swerve right now is like the Rhea Ripley in AEW right now. She the fans are very high on Swerve Strickland. He's got the dance, he's got Prince Nana with him, all that stuff. But yet he's still supposed to be portrayed as this heel character. And yes, you have Hangman Adam Page trying to fill the void, being the baby face in all of this. But the facts are facts, people. Swerve has defeated Hangman Adam Page twice. It doesn't make any sense for Swerve to get the same title opportunity as Hangman Adam Page would. Now they're going to do this whole number one contendership matchup to face Samoa Joe for the world title. But I think you guys know in regards to it, this is going to lead to some type of draw. It's going to lead to some type of DQ, and it's going to lead to a triple threat for AEW Revolution. And it's just, I don't know. It's all over the place, really. I mean, Samoa Joe, he was funny on commentary, smirking and laughing, freaking on commentary, talking about Swerve after he's done with Hangman Adam Page. He's gonna freaking go straight after Samoa Joe's title, and he's just freaking laughing or whatever. But so yeah, it's weird. And even I've spoken about Hangman Adam Page, and again, I'll end it with this. It's just he's in this situation with Joe because Joe apparently had the Undisputed Kingdom, right, which is Adam Cole and everybody else, and apparently he was the guy because they did business. That's why freaking Adam Cole did what he did to MJF, and that's how he able to got back into the title picture. That whole pleasure doing business with you spiel when Samoa Joe attacked MJF. It was evident, and part of that was Hangman Adam Page getting attacked was due to Samoa Joe, which I get, but why not have? Because what is Undisputed Kingdom doing right now? Really nothing as of right now.
Really, yeah.
Why not have Hangman Adam Page say, okay, listen, in order for me to get to the head of the snake, which is the world champion, right? You would think it's Adam Cole, but it's not. It's your world champion. That's the guy who directed these goons, Adam Cole and everyone else, to attack you. So you would think as Hangman Adam Page, all right, I'm going to go up the ladder. I'm going to go after freaking Michael Bennett. I'm going to go after Roderick Strong. I'm going to take out Wardlow. I'm going to freaking, the thing is with Adam Cole, he's injured. That's what's kind of weird about this. But then you would say Adam Cole, and then you would get to Samoa Joe. Just to go straight to Samoa Joe, straight into a title picture, it's just a very odd look. So I don't know. And some people may disagree with that. I don't give a shit what you say. It's just, we could be executing this better. And speaking of execution, that's been one word thrown in regards to WWE land, but I'll get to that in just a second. But to finish this off, before we get into SmackDown, Brian, your thoughts in regards to all that?
Yeah, I just think with Swerve, man, I mean, he's the number one contender. I mean, that's what he should be.
That's what he should be.
And if they have a third match or whatever, I don't think you can have Page losing 3 times to him. So yeah, like you said, it's going to be a triple Swerve take the loss or a DQ, and then which obviously leads to a triple threat, which is just It's unnecessary. It's Swerve is your number one contender, and have Paige, like you said, do something with the Undisputed Kingdom. That's, sitting right there for you. But yeah, in no way am I looking forward to a triple threat. Nah.
No. Either one of those two, winning or losing, makes absolutely zero sense. Because, guys, what else do I need to see between these two? Between Hangman. Bro, Hangman was drinking Swerve's blood, for fuck's sake. Like, and now and now I need to see them in a triple threat, which leading up to it doesn't even make any freaking sense. Like, and again, guys, I get it. The whole Samoa Joe thing. Hangman wants to go after Joe. But it doesn't make any logical sense to say you don't deserve a title opportunity because you fucking lost to this dude who's getting this other opportunity twice now. And
Right.
Hangman was like, oh, well, it's like, well, you didn't beat me. You had the Mogul Embassy beat me. Yeah, they did. But last time I checked, it was both of those matches were not under regular singles match rules. So what the fuck did you think was going to fucking happen, dude? It's I don't get it. It just, it would not make Swerve nor Hangman look good if either one of them took the loss for next week. So it's going to be a triple threat. That's what we all expect. And just, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. That's just AEW for you. Outside of that, man, even Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm, like I like the matchup. I think, and we've spoken about it too, Brian. It's like, that's the only way you can put Deonna Purrazzo, the situation that she's in, because you can't put her in any other situation and make fans really gravitate her to say, wow, this woman needs business. She is a top star in this women's division. Unfortunately, it has to go to a title. But because this week they had like the whole Toni Storm, they were chatting back and forth. Toni Storm, like the stuff that she says on commentary and on the microphone is great. No, I can go on for hours about that. But then they kind of do the same thing this week. It's like Deonna, she beats Taya Valkyrie in another really good match. I'm like, okay, good. I know that Deonna Purrazzo is a great wrestler. I need another layer. I need more substance here. And all she did was just stare down at Toni Storm, and that was it. It's like, that's my problem, man. It's like, okay, you have Deonna Purrazzo. You have all of these people. What are you really doing with them? Are you just putting them on your roster just to have them on your roster? Or are you actually getting creative to get people to watch them next week and the following week and the week after that? That's my issue in regards to it. So, but yeah, shout out to Sting and shout out to Darby. It's funny too, it's from yesterday, we were watching Sting and his TNA show days and everything, which I do remember to an extent. I don't remember much of the storytelling aspect, but that was pretty much when TNA was like kind of at its peak, when WWE is like in that freaking horrific PG era. Like I'm talking like the height of it, like going into the height of that PG era. I mean, you have people like Kurt Angle, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan. Like that's when TNA was like rocking on all cylinders too. So it's crazy. And then funny, we saw a segment with Sting and Ric Flair. And it's kind of like funny and ironic how like 17 years later, ago, they're still in the same freaking ring doing this shit. Just hopefully they continue whatever they got going with the Bucks, because what the Bucks are doing right now is pretty darn freaking cool. And it's pretty again, it's realistic and it could be a lot of fun. It's all about execution, and AEW and Tony Khan just doesn't give me the benefit of the doubt right now. And plus there's just a lot more substance in pro wrestling, which we'll get into. That's just bigger right now, unfortunately. So, but we'll see as we get closer to AEW Revolution, we'll talk more about it. Let us get into SmackDown. We're going to dive straight into it. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, a lot happened in this show. And I mean, a lot has happened in this show as we're going to jump straight into it. But let's start off from the jump. Let's start right from the jump of this show in hour number 1. And that is Logan Paul. Logan Paul started this show off, your United States champion. And it was, again, Logan Paul is just being Logan Paul once again, cutting a pretty darn decent promo. Again, he took some digs towards CM Punk, talking about his torn tricep and how, oh, I'm hurt in my torn tricep. And wow, it's like, oh, shut up. Everybody gets hurt. Me, I'm indestructible. I never get hurt. Yeah, that's a lie. I'm sorry. That's just a lie. It was great, but it's not true. But I'm just pointing that out there. So he cuts a freaking great promo. Of course, Kevin Owens comes out. Of course, we talked about, they're going to continue the shtick with KO and Logan Paul. Really good back and forth segment. I'm not going to lie. Should that have started the show off? Very debatable, but this was actually solid for what it was, man. Kevin Owens was was taking jabs at Logan. Logan was taking jabs. I think Logan Paul calls Kevin Owens a donut. He legit calls him a donut. It's just like, this is where, Logan Paul is like one or two things in regards to like jabs and like quick digs. They're very childish and really cheesy, or they're just really darn freaking funny.
Right.
And this was one of them. So freaking Logan was like to Kevin Owens, he's like, dude, you smell really bad right now. Like, get away from me. Yeah, that's why I took a shower in your prime drink. He's like, as long as it's better not be cherry flavor, because cherry flavor is amazing. It was awesome. It was freaking awesome. I loved it. And of course, more back and forth altercations, and this leads into a match with Austin Theory, Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory. Thank God, at least they're not blocking out any crowd noise, or they're not inserting any crowd noise, I should say. But the problem is now it's dead crickets now for Austin Theory. So this match took us all the way into the first half an hour of the show. Not sure how needed that was, because we've seen these two multiple times already this calendar year in the ring. But this was to kind of just pump up Kevin Owens to further along the story. Of course, more brass knucks were involved. Kevin Owens hits Austin Theory with the brass knucks. This time is able to hide the evidence this time, unlike the Royal Rumble, and picks up the W over Austin Theory. Logan Paul was at ringside on commentary, and that's pretty much how this whole shtick ends in regards to it. So who knows? Do they do this? Probably it's going to be an Elimination Chamber. I spoke about it, maybe pushing it to Mania, but the case, in fact, is that I think that they'll probably do this again in Elimination Chamber. I don't think they're going to do a rematch for Logan Paul at WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania is probably the stage to where somebody is going to take that title from Logan Paul. And of course, Logan Paul was in a backstage segment with Bianca Belair. It's like, this is how you treat your top stars. Like, what are we doing around here? Like, what's going on? Screaming at Nick Aldis and everything. Bianca and them taking jabs back and forth. It was freaking great. But I don't know. And I don't know, Brian. And this is what kind of came to mind, and a lot of people else came to mind. Like, could this potentially, because Montez Ford, who is freaking Bianca's man, that little interaction, I don't know. Montez is now a babyface with this shtick with Lashley and Dawkins. Are they finally? It's unlikely, but could they potentially?
That would be a damn good match, man.
Could they potentially have Montez finally be the singles competitor and take that title from Logan Paul? Is it going to happen? It's very not likely, no.
Right.
But the tease with the little segment with Bianca, that's something where it would make sense for that type of interaction to happen. So, but who knows? But of course, they're going to continue this with KO. Again, debatable. Eye of the beholder, whether it should have started the show or not. Definitely should not have gone a 10 plus minute match with Austin Theory to go all the way to the first half an hour of the show. But outside of that, man, no complaints from me in regards to it. So, Brian, your thoughts, man? Logan Paul and the start of the show.
I mean, with Logan Paul, to be honest with you, I am a little surprised that he was the person to call out Punk's injury just in that way, in that manner.
Yeah.
And which it just doubles down on it. Me as a fan, it makes me hate him more. It's that, like, who the fuck are you little piss man, talking about like one of our, Punk is like it, hate him, love him, whatever. He's a legend in this business at this point.
Absolutely.
How dare you fucking come in here and, talk about one of our stars that way.
Yeah.
But it plays into why why the hate he gets is kind of why that kind of shit. So
absolutely,
it's perfect for him. Like I said, man, if he really wanted to kind of leave everything else and do wrestling full time, he is the perfect kind of mixture of that in-ring physical ability, that just the natural heat he gets. It's natural. So yeah, if he wanted to do this, he'd be great at it, man. And that's all I can say about this. How this goes. I mean, I don't need to see a bunch of matches with KO and Paul. I do like your idea about
Montez
Montez.
and
Because, like you said, yeah, it was another dick move when he goes, backstage, and Belair, who is a top female star, he basically treats her like she's fucking nobody. So
it's
yeah,
done
man.
beautifully, by the way. Absolutely,
Yeah,
that was
which
really
it
done very
was.
well.
It was. Yep, definitely was, man. So if that's a route they could go, you and I have said again since last Mania, like Montez, dude, he was ready then. Coming off, he had a great Rumble. He was ready then. So if you wanted to go this route where now they feud, that in ring, dude, I mean I think that can deliver storyline wise and in ring what they can do together.
For sure.
Absolutely, man. That's money.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's believable. It's very believable for a guy like Montez's stature, even though, yes, he's a tag team guy. But guys, we all know that, like, I've made this comparison.
Got to be God, man. I mean, I know that, I talk about tag wrestling and I wish it could be back like it was in the day.
Yeah.
But if you're not even going to try to get back to that, then I mean, Montez he's got to be a single star, man. He's ready.
Yeah. And you can say if this is an unfair comparison, but like I always say, like with Jey Uso, people were like, oh, Jey Uso should be the guy to take the title off of Roman. Guys, absolutely not. Like Jey Uso is good. He's very good and he's doing well for what's been given to him. But deep down, man, he's a tag team guy. His best work is with his brother Jimmy. That's how it's always been. No matter how well he does in this solo shtick, his best work is always going to be with his brother Jimmy. That's just facts. But with Montez, man, he is the Shawn Michaels to Dawkins, which is Marty Jannetty. It's evident. Like, and that's no shade to Dawkins. Dawkins is a fine talent, but guys, it's clear as day that Montez is the more polarizing star, and he just has more to offer than Angelo Dawkins right now. He just does. Now, I don't know what this and that could it possibly happen? Would I book that for Mania or whatever pay-per-view that they do such? Absolutely. Will they do that? Probably not. They want to make Lashley still this main focal point of the pride that is Lashley and the Profits, as well as another member, B-Fab, that was it seems like she's being added to this group to go after the final testament with Scarlett and AOP and Cross. So yeah, I mean, we've spoken about LA Knight being the guy. I mean, I wouldn't mind that if he wouldn't have just gone straight to freaking Roman Reigns at freaking at Crown Jewel. So yeah, I mean, it's there if they want to acknowledge, no pun intended, if they want to acknowledge that idea of it with Montez and Logan Paul. I think it'd be like you said. I mean, those two in a matchup. Oh, dude, forget it. People will freaking eat it up. Yep. As well as Montez, he's a baby face right now, and again, another baby face that a lot of fans can get behind, going after a heel that people can't stand in Logan. I think it's to me, it's a beautiful freaking. It's a beautiful mesh that could be really, really solid.
Yep.
But we'll see in regards to that. Of course, the Profits, Lashley, they're going to finish this shtick with Cross and Final Testament. They'll probably, my gut feeling is, Brian, they're probably going to do this type of tag match in the middle of the SmackDown. That's just my gut feeling and how things are going to go. Cross and the Testament, to me, honestly, have to take the W. I will say that that Lashley and the Profits are being brought the best out of because of this group, the Final Testament, just finally rolling up the sleeves, being badass. Enough of this freaking red solo cups, this dancing and all this shtick. Like, bro, like, just be fucking serious every now and then. I don't mind the silly jokes every now and then, but if that's your whole spiel, then it's just like, how seriously can I take you?
I can't believe you as tag champs.
Exactly. Matt Riddle, bro. Matt Riddle, when he's serious, like, he is really freaking good. But 24/7, if you're just gonna do bro and act like you're this freaking dude that's
like you're half checked out, like
half
you don't
checked out all the time. It's just like it's really, it rams it into a freaking wall.
Yeah.
But we'll see, man. I mean, again, so Kevin Owens and Logan Paul, probably it's going to be at the Chamber for the most part, and we'll see what they do for Mania moving forward. But Montez, I'm telling y'all, that would be a tremendous
money.
But they're probably going to do LA Knight, which again, I like LA Knight, but it's just, man, that United States title would feel such like a consolation prize because he's already gone after Roman at this point. But if Montez, if that's something they want to acknowledge, man, it's especially after the interaction too with Bianca, it's there, man. So, but we shall find out over the next couple weeks. Let's get into our next topic, man. A bunch of new stars who have signed a contract. One of them, though, is still deciding, but two others are from the female women's division. One of them is Naomi. Of course, there were already rumors talked about that she's going to go to SmackDown, and she has signed a contract for SmackDown, and she will be on Friday nights, as well as Tiffany Stratton. There was a tremendous backstage segment. You know, Naomi signs her contract. She's coming out of Nick Aldis's office. Bianca, Shotzi, and I think Mia Yim were back there. They're all cheering for her. And then Tiffany also comes out of the room and says, excuse me, I'm the center of the universe. I also signed a contract. Where's my applause? Huh? Right. Where is it? Guys, I freaking love Tiffany Stratton. Guys, if you don't know Tiffany Stratton much from NXT, guys, I promise you, watch, just watch this woman. I'm not just talking in-ring maneuvers. I'm not just talking in-ring ability. Just everything she brings to the table is tremendous. And she did it in NXT, and it's so good to see her on the main roster. And I do feel like, Brian, that she will be booked as a big deal in the company. It's just the execution part of it. And that's what I get into the match. But before I get into the match, they had the backstage altercation. Where's my applause? I'm the center of the universe. I love that freaking line. It made me freaking laugh out loud. And then they get face to face with Tiffany, or Tiffany gets in the face to face with Bianca, and then slaps the Michin out of Mia Yim. And that led into a match later on in the night. And I'll get to that in just a second. After Brian, I'll send that off to you, and I'll get into the match later on. As well as Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker, he was about to sign a contract to SmackDown, and then Adam Pearce was also there and kind of was able to instigate his way for a meeting over on Monday Night Raw. Now, I feel like Braun Breaker is going to go to Monday Night Raw. He hinted that he's not done with the Judgment Day after his Royal Rumble appearance this past Saturday. So I honestly think it's evident that he will sign a contract and will go over to Monday Night Raw. Could things change? Sure, they definitely can. And then there's Jade Cargill. We don't really know where Jade Cargill is going to go. Now, we spoke about it, Brian, just earlier, that honestly, where this is heading for Jade, it seems like she's going to be a part of the babyface role. And she's going to start something with Nia Jax because she eliminated Nia Jax from the Rumble. So it would kind of make sense because you've already signed Tiffany and Naomi. To add now Jade Cargill, it's like, okay, well, what's left for Monday Night Raw? Yeah. So you would think that Jade, with the shtick that she's got going on with Nia, that would just make the most sense in regards to it. So we'll see. We shall see. But before we get into the Tiffany Stratton matchup, Brian, your thoughts in regards to Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, and Braun Breaker, man. Talk to me.
First, let me say, that's all great that they all, Braun, we've talked about. He could have come up last year, in all seriousness.
Yeah, dude, he should have been up here, bro. He's wasted his time in NXT, and he should have been up here. Absolutely. Continue.
But yeah, with all these, last night, look, and it's a lot. There's a lot of good, and it was a very I think exciting show overall. But all of it is done to you got some injuries and you got the Vince thing, so they went full bore with we have to get people talking about other things, and I think they've done as good a job as they could have. But that being said, yeah, Braun, Stratton, Cargill, Naomi's back. Oh man, that's those are good problems to have, man. That's awesome. And yeah, to your point, Naomi and Stratton are over at SmackDown. Cargill, I think she even fits better just at Raw, just with her size and the matches she can have with the Nia Jax, Rhea Ripley, Starks. It just, I think she's a better fit at Raw right now. So yeah, I think that would be great, even though we're waiting to see. And Braun Breaker, yeah, I would say probably Raw as well. So yeah, a tremendous. I'm so happy that all of them are finally up in on the main roster, and can't wait to see what they're doing. And I will throw this out, man. Naomi over at SmackDown. And I know maybe it's just I want it to happen so bad. I'm trying to will it into existence. So we'll get into what happened later on, but you got Bayley there. Naomi's there. We just need one more person to fill out that group, man, to face another group.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Please let it happen. Please.
I know what you're talking about, bro. And I want it more than anything. So absolutely. Yep. But we'll see. I mean, it's there, like you said, especially for this next topic that we're going to get into. But real quick, before we do get into that, man, I do want to talk about this Tiffany Stratton matchup. You know, Brian, and this is not just a question to you, Brian, but to everybody. Do people remember jobber matches? Do people remember what a jobber match is? Like, why aren't there more jobber matches in wrestling? This would have been a perfect opportunity to really showcase Tiffany. Now, yes, she won the matchup. It's against Mia Yim. Like, I get it. Like, she won the match, and I get it. But, man, like, that entire matchup was just Tiffany getting her ass kicked for half of the match. And I'm like, this is how you showcase Tiffany Stratton on your first night on the main roster?
Right.
It was just Meechin out of all people. That's no shade to her. That's just how she just comes across over the last several months.
Like, what has she been? Yeah, what has she been doing? Like, and I've spoken highly about her too. I wish she was in a better spot. But
absolutely, no doubt. And it's really weird how that. And she hits that beautiful moonsault. She overshot it. I don't know if that was just like adrenaline because that's her first match on the main roster and she just overshot it a bit. I expect her to clean that up. I'm not worried about
it was still beautiful. No,
it was still beautiful for what it was. It was still beautiful. But yeah, man, like we got to do a better job, guys, of really showcasing these people better in NXT. We got to, man. It's just like you have Tiffany go out there and just get beaten up by Mia Yim for half of the matchup. Like, just saying, man, we could do better, bro. Just throw a jobber from Birmingham, Alabama out there and have Tiffany Stratton do her freaking, loser and freaking toodles. Yeah. Again, man, I love freaking Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
She's great because she just brings everything to the table, which is why I like her a lot. And I'm very high on Tiffany Stratton. We could have done so much better for this woman last night, but I will say again, like I said earlier, they are going to treat her like a big deal. Hopefully they get the ball rolling with her and hopefully they give a shit about what she's doing instead of just throwing her in like promo match. And it just gets very stale very quickly. But before we get to our next topic, man, because now it's going to get really spicy as we get along the show. But Brian, your final thoughts about Tiffany and everything else?
Dude, I think she's excellent. I mean, she was nailing it at NXT. Yeah. I expect her to do the same up here. I just really hope that we do get away. What we've always said about the NXT, that transition when they call people up, like, I don't know why they seemingly change everything about them. I mean, I don't expect them to do that with Braun or Tiffany here, but they've worked on this character and built themselves up and they're succeeding and they're doing great at it. So fucking call them up and then continue that, man. Don't just throw them fucking curveballs to see if, hey, can you do this now? Why?
Yeah. Exactly, man. Well, let's get this ball rolling, man. We got two big topics to end this show off, to end SmackDown. The first one is with Bayley and Damage Control, as Bayley was set to make her WrestleMania match decision. Is she facing Rhea Ripley, or does she go after another champion, her own friend in Io Sky? So backstage, and this reminds me a lot, Brian, I made a comment about this, Batista and Evolution back in 2005. And I'm telling you, man, like they did the backstage, what was it? Io Sky was like saying to Kyrie and Asuka, like, Bayley is done. Like in actual English term, like Bayley is done. And then before the segment ends, man, Bayley comes around the corner of the door and she heard every single freaking word. And then they come out there. Bayley cuts her promo. Rhea Ripley's also watching backstage as Bayley's about to make her decision. And then, Bayley's like, listen, I can either go after the best of the best, right? Either, you gotta, in order to beat the best, you gotta beat the best. Or maybe I want to prove somebody wrong. And she turns over to Io Sky and she talks about how calling them family and saying, like, you don't think I've heard everything that's been said behind my back, right? I've been learning Japanese, by the way. You don't think I know? You don't think
Yeah.
I've been getting caught up in everything over the past few months? Like, guys, why? Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, all I wanted to do was to have Damage Control to be the best in this industry. Like, is this really how you think of me after all we've been through and everything? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Kyrie and Asuka attack Bayley, and the turn is done, man. Right then and there, Damage Control is no more. They do a 3-on-1 assault. Bayley is like she's like underneath or by the ring apron next to the ring post. She grabs a lead pipe from underneath the ring. Like she's kind of planned that this would happen.
Yeah.
And she takes that lead pipe. She takes out Kyrie. She takes out Asuka. Io tries to swing and hit the title, but she doesn't. She's very hesitant. Also, Bayley has the lead pipe in her hand. Io Sky exits out the ring, and Bayley grabs back the microphone and said, "Oh, hey, by the way, Io, I'll see you at WrestleMania." And that's your segment, man. So there you go, Brian.
Yeah.
There's your first Mania matchup. You got Bayley and you got Io Sky for the women's championship. I'll have you start this off, Brian. I got some words I want to say, but I'll have you start this off, man. Your thoughts about Damage Control finally splitting and Bayley challenging Io for the title at Mania. Your thoughts, brother?
Well, yeah. I mean, if we go back to even just our last episode, like I thought this was going to be stretched out a little bit longer, the actual break, but
right.
I thought the segment and even that backstage beforehand with Bayley, kind of, she overheard everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, the segment, it was good, man, and that
good.
hesitation, with Io and Bayley at the end, man, I love that as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is this isn't even a negative, but the promo that Bayley cut was, and she did it great, but it was like a very emotional, almost, I don't like it. I've said this about Liv, almost that woe is me, kind of feel sorry for me, whatever. I don't think she's going to lean into that too much. It was good for that one time, but yeah, like I don't think she can't go like, don't even head in the direction of like a hugger or the pseudo hugger gimmick. It's got to be something different than that, right?
Yeah, that's no shade to everybody that
and that was great for that
shout
time.
Out to Richie Mars. I know we're throwing a lot of slander over the Bayley buddies, and no shade to the Bayley buddies, but
it's not even shade to that.
Happen. It's not
just,
even no.
That was for back then, and it was.
I don't think it's gonna go. I don't think it's gonna go that route, Brian. I think that was just like kind of feeling that type of distraught, like why would these people that I brought up and really tried to make this a dominant faction do this to me? And now I think you're gonna see, because it would be weird for this grown-ass woman now to go back to this character, this hugger character that she was when she was like freaking 5+ years younger. It would be really weird. I don't think they're gonna do that at all. I think she's gonna be in the same spiel as her character, her same look, but just as a baby face, man. I think that it's going to be some type of redemption type of angle here is probably what they're going to do with Bayley. I will say this though, as great as it was, man, because I said it last week. I said, I really wish that there was a more noticeable divide outside of the same little teases that we've been doing for months. And I guess you can say that the reason why they did these teases, like, oh, well, Bayley was learning Japanese this entire time. She was studying and seeing what was going on. Yeah, you could say that to a degree, but I really wish that more layers were added, like a lot more layers than just the small, simple tease, like, oh, hey, they walked out of the ring freaking this past Monday. Or they're like, there's little awkward little stares and silence and stuff, which they've been doing. And it's been done well. But I was like, okay, when did we get the ball rolling? I did not think, Brian, that they were just going to do all of this crazy tension and split in the matter of seconds.
Right.
But hey, now what I look at it is that, listen, we got to where we need to where we need to be now, right? In regards to this story. Like now things have picked up. really get this thing into high gear and really get us excited for this matchup, man. Really add some more layers to this story. You know, maybe go dig a little deep of why Io and again, Dakota Kai. We don't even know what Dakota Kai, because she was not there
She
last
wasn't
night.
there, yeah.
Is she behind all of this, or is she going to be at the side of Bayley, or of Bayley when this is all said and done?
No,
Plant all of. You don't think so? You don't think so, Brian?
No,
You think she's behind all of this?
Well, maybe not behind it per se, but she's not going to be with Bayley. No.
Okay. I mean, we'll soon find out.
I don't know. That would make sense too if she was orchestrating it all. That would make, because she's out, and that makes sense.
She would be some type of that type of mouthpiece.
Yeah.
For Io, Asuka, and Kairi in a way. And again, you can go that direction, but the good thing about it is, Brian, is that there's questions, and there's good questions of where Dakota Kai fits into all of this, man. So I really hope that we really dig deep into this, like why Io did what he did, why they, when did it click of deciding, like we got to get Bayley out of this. We have to turn on her. I really hope that they do that, man. I really hope they really just take a lot of creativity into this, because this can be really good. And that's all I can really say, man. I mean, I would have gone a different direction in regards to, like, man, especially being 3-on-1, have them just beat the living shit out of Bayley and maybe sign her off of TV, showcase Damage Control. Like, see, we didn't need Bayley. Look, we're dominant as ever. We're creating chaos backstage. We're taking out all these women backstage. And then whenever that timing is right, Bayley comes back and she starts her redemption story in taking out Damage Control. That's something I would have gone through. But Brian, I have no problems with this whatsoever. I'm just glad that we're finally got the ball rolling with this. I wasn't expecting all this tension and divide to happen that quickly, especially they haven't did much of that over the past few months, but we're here, and it was still done perfectly well, especially that whole Evolution Batista type of angle, if you want to call it. But before we get into our final topic, man, Brian, your final thoughts with that.
Man, like I said, I thought it was a fantastic segment. And so now, you're set up where, like, it's 3, possibly 4-on-1, if you throw Dakota in there. So, man, I'm telling you, man, it's set up right there so much. I think in the next coming weeks, obviously Bayley's going to need some backup. I don't think you write her off TV. I think you get her some backup. Naomi, and so it's going to start with Naomi. Hopefully,
Naomi
could be other people, but it'll be Naomi or one person. They'll
could be Bianca too. Probably Bianca, maybe Naomi. Probably those two.
But they'll get, kind of, maybe they come out on top every now and then, but they'll get the short end of the stick, and you need a third person. And by God, man, I hope it's Sasha Banks, and you have
you and me both, brother.
Naomi, Sasha, and Bayley against the rest of Damage Control, whoever that is, and go from there. And as much as, look, I've never ever been one to, like, read, like, I am not, like, searching on the internet and dirt sheets and whatever.
Yeah.
But something strikes me as, like, everything I've seen so far regarding Sasha is mainly from one person, and mainly she's going to AEW, and that's all kind of you're hearing, or at least what I'm seeing. I mean, maybe I'm missing a lot or whatever, but that just seems very, look, first of all, he speculates. That's what he does. He's not a journalist. But just there's so much of it, and it's all pointing to AEW, that I think she's coming to WWE, and man, I fucking hope so.
Yeah.
But either way, how this plays out, I think you're right in that aspect where there needs to be now some story told of, like, where did Damage Control? Where did you start not trusting Bayley or believing in Bayley? Or
tell that story.
Right. Yep.
Whether it's like maybe Dakota maybe narrating it, if Dakota's behind all of this, like get away from the ring, get away from backstage, like really make this fun. Don't just do the simple, simplistic type of storytelling to get there. Like, really dive into this. This is supposed to be a very personal thing.
Yeah.
Well, tell it like it's freaking personal.
Right. Yep.
So we shall see, man. But really good stuff. who wins at WrestleMania? I guess that's another.
Oh, Bayley.
That's another
100%.
discussion.
That's
Bayley. Oh yeah,
Bayley.
okay.
100%.
Bayley.
It's Bayley.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, we'll
like I said
see.
on last podcast, I really think this is Bayley's year, man. Like,
yeah, it seems
you
like
know,
it's evident with this push in regards to it, and we haven't really seen a whole lot of, at least over the past few years, where someone who's won the Rumble, and especially for the men's side. But I mean, yeah, you could say like Rhea Ripley, but we don't see it too much often, especially for the men's side, where a babyface wins the Rumble and wins the championship
and then goes
at Mania.
on to win a Mania.
And goes on to win at Mania. I mean, Rhea Ripley did that, but she was a heel at the from last year.
Right.
So we'll see. We shall see, man. That is definitely a different discussion for a different day. Brian says it's Bayley. I also feel like it's probably Bayley as well, but we shall see. We'll definitely talk more and go more into depth once we get closer into Mania. But let us get into the final topic, and that was Cody Rhodes and his decision. Who is Cody Rhodes going to face at WrestleMania? Is he going to go after the Dusty title, quote unquote, or is he going to go after the Tribal Chief, the title that his father, remember, never frickin' won, which is the title that Roman Reigns currently holds. So Roman Reigns comes out first with this long, drawn-out Undertaker type of freaking entrance, right? And he goes off on Seth. Guys, I'm talking like he goes off. He mentions Seth Rollins as his little brother. He's like, and then he says, exactly, no pop. Like, dude, and he freaking, what else does he say, man? He says, like, dude, it's like, yeah, you may be working more than me, right? But guess what? I make more money than you. So it's like he talks to Cody Rhodes, like, do you want freaking Seth Rollins type money, or do you want Tribal Chief money? He's like, bro, you can't be going around walking in your wife's clothes and saying you're the man around here. I love it.
That was good. That was good.
Love it. Oh my God, man. It's just Roman, honestly, the best. And Roman does a lot of great promos, but this man was, at least for a while, that really like stood out, if that makes sense. Like, again, all of his promos are really, really good. He's done a tremendous job, but this was like next freaking level. This was freaking great. And I can go on for hours about this promo, but I do want to get the ball rolling here. But Cody Rhodes comes out after all that was said about Roman, talking shit about Seth Rollins, calling him his little brother, making fun of his freaking laugh and making fun of his freaking clothes. And he also made fun of his knee. Like he's like, would a workhorse champion do this? And he's
limping around. Yep.
Oh my God, it was great. I'm sorry. It was
it was good, man.
Heel status to another freaking level. I love it. And then so Cody Rhodes comes out. He does his whole shtick. And he makes it clear that he wants this title. I am coming after this title, but not at WrestleMania. And that's when The Rock frickin' comes out. The Rock comes out, and just immediately I'm like, wow. Okay, that like it's happening, Brian. It's legit happening. Cody Rhodes taking a back seat to Rock for Rock and Roman to happen at Mania. They embrace freaking Cody and Rock. They stare down, they handshake, they embrace each other in the ring. We talked about it, Brian, too. You wonder what was actually said between the two.
Yeah.
And then Cody Rhodes just leaves. He takes the back seat and he freaking leaves, man. He knows that, honestly, Brian, he knows that this is just the bigger mainstream matchup. And he knows that, listen, I'll win that title at some point down the road, but it's not going to be at WrestleMania because there's another guy that has a score to settle with you. And that person is The Rock, freaking Dwayne Johnson. And guys, guys, you want to talk about cutting the tension with a knife? That was Roman and Rock in this freaking stare down as SmackDown freaking goes off the air. And now they just announced that they're going to have a press conference, I believe, in Las Vegas coming up this week to promote WrestleMania. So I'm telling you, man, they are going to do everything in their power to make this match as memorable, as must-see as freaking possible. So yeah, Cody Rhodes is going to go after that Dusty title, and you're going to get Roman and Rock at WrestleMania Night 2. Brian, I got a lot to say, but I'm going to let you start off, man. The floor is yours. Take it away.
Man. Let me start with this. First, I at least am happy of the fact that when Cody went out there, he addressed the fact that like the finishing the story is that title. It's that title, right?
Mhm.
I'm just glad he said that, you know, at the very least. Man, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, like most, if not all of this right now is predicated on injuries, and you know what was going to happen is now not. I don't know how I feel about, I mean, Cody and Seth at Mania. That I mean, honestly, I don't really have a lot of interest in that. I still, well, let me back up here. I wish Rock would come out and say too, or somebody would say like, okay, like is Rock back for a year, or is he back for 3 months,
Yeah.
or what is this with the in ring? What is it? Is he just coming back for like big pay-per-views? Because that matters as to like how WrestleMania goes down
Oh, for sure.
and whatever.
For sure.
So I wish we could, and that's something that we don't know.
Yeah.
So, because ultimately there's still a way that you could have, again, I mean, Roman pulled double duty, and by God, I mean, yes, the man's had enough nights off that, and he's a supreme athlete. He could do both nights of WrestleMania and have one for the title and one for the head of the table. I guess we would all assume now Rock is fighting Roman for the title, although I would still say it still doesn't need to be for the title.
Right.
It doesn't need to be that. Like,
Absolutely.
it could be a thing where, like, you know, again, if Rock is going to be there in some capacity, but maybe not wrestling all the time or a lot, where Rock beats him for the head of the table, maybe Roman's still champion, but Rock's calling that Rock is telling Roman what to do now, or the rest of the bloodline what to do. You know, I don't know how you go with that, but man, it just I don't know. You know, and to Cody and Seth, we would all expect Cody to win that. And I guess he's just going to go on another year run of now being the workhorse champion and defending it against whoever, you know, I don't know, Gunther, AJ, Orton, who knows? I just think it's in this day and age, it's too long. You know, if I don't know, there's still, of course, many routes you could go. Could Cody win at SummerSlam? Yeah, sure. Is that as big? Who knows? But yeah, and one thing I do I really want to go back and check out is I'm trying to think back of Dusty and Flair. And it might have been like a 3-year story for Dusty to finally beat Flair for that title. And I wonder if that's what they're trying to do now and make it a 3-year story.
Probably.
I just think in this day and age, it's
possible.
Too long. Yeah.
It's possible. It's very,
I'm gonna research that and look into that, and hopefully I'll have an answer. I'll mention on next podcast. But
that way that frickin' Roman gets his milestone in passing Hulk Hogan,
right?
And Cody Rhodes finally finishes the story that everybody wants. But guys, the story, like you said, Brian, it would be one thing if they executed it properly, because that's a lot of, because I could be a real dickhead to a lot of freaking people that really wanted Cody versus Roman at night 2. I could really be a real dickhead to a lot of, I'm not going to go too far in being an asshole. I don't mind being the asshole, but I'm not going to be that much of an asshole. But here's what I'll say. I do have a post from PW Insider as of right now in regards to this entire situation. So right now, the rumor is for Cody Rhodes to win the World Heavyweight Championship and to challenge the winner of The Rock versus Roman and to unify the titles I guess maybe at Mania or whatever big pay-per-view.
Can I interrupt you real quick? Also, would this be a bigger possible match even with Cody finishing the story? If it is a title match between Rock and Roman and Rock wins,
Mm-hmm.
and then Cody beats The Rock at SummerSlam. I mean, is Cody and The Rock a bigger money match, more eyeballs, more,
I don't know,
maybe.
man. The Rock holding on to that title, because I agree with a lot of people. Like Roman will probably will defeat The Rock, but because here's the thing too, I don't even
I don't
need
think
Brian,
he can beat
I
The
don't
Rock,
even
though.
need the title. I don't even need the title to
Right.
be on the line. Just
Right.
have the fucking match.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Just for the head of the table, the title
Just
doesn't have to be
right.
Yeah.
The title doesn't even have to be on the line. And again, and I get it. It would be weird because it's WrestleMania. You're not defending the title. Like, guys, I don't
Right.
even give a shit. Like, it's Roman versus Rock. It's just good business. And I get it, Brian. A lot of this probably has to do why this decision was made in full, right? This probably has a lot to do with all the injuries with Punk and with Rollins, as well as this lawsuit with Vince McMahon that has just been getting worse and worse over the past several weeks.
Horrible, man. It's fucking horrible.
It's horrible. Absolutely. And I get it why they made this decision, as I'm sure everyone else does. But guys, all I hear over the past 24 hours is this, Brian. Guys, like, what are we?
When's he gonna finish the story?
Right, like, oh my god, fucking damn it, god, I don't like Rock. Fuck the Rock. This is stupid. Part-timers. Like, guys, what are we doing, man? Listen, enough joking, right? That's just
Yeah.
Listen, I get it if you don't like The Rock. I get it if you think that is old. By the way, have we looked at The Rock lately? Have we seen?
Like, did you see him last night? I mean, dude. Oh my god!
I'm hearing this dude is like is freaking injury prone. I'm hearing this dude is gonna get injured. He's not gonna put on a good match. Have we not seen what the fucking Rock looks like, guys? Like, can we cut the shit with that?
I mean, that is just weak. That is low. I don't even know where people. That's just straight bullshit.
Here's what also grinds my gears, Brian. Is like, again, also like the outcome. Now I get it. Do we want to be shocked in regards to what we're absolutely? But guys, like I've always made this type of statement. Go back to any type of really good movie that you watched, right? Any movie. I'm positive that most of those movies that you watch, you will always have a good suspicion of what that outcome is going to be. I'm telling you. Like, what the fuck is different from that versus this match at WrestleMania 40? Nothing. The title doesn't even need to be on the line, Brian. I don't give a shit about the title being on the line. Because, guys, here's the reality, right? Again, I understand if you like Cody, if you're upset, and I hear with everybody. Was this poorly executed, Brian? No doubt. This was very poorly executed. But you know why it's been poorly executed? It was not just from last night. It's this entire fucking year. The entire year, guys, this story with Cody Rhodes has been botched since WrestleMania 39 last year. And we have said it since day one, that it was botched and nobody wanted to listen to us. We wasted 4 to 5 months with Brock telling no semblance of a story. Then we wasted another 4 to 5, 6 months with the Judgment Day, nonsensically fighting the Judgment Day. You can give me all these little teases. Oh, well, they had a face-off and they had this little tease. Guys, there was no real intrigue. Don't bullshit with me that people are actually had intrigue going into this shit. Unless you're a diehard Cody Rhodes fan. But don't give me this bullshit that now The Rock is back and you don't like The Rock and now claim that, oh, we were so excited for Cody to finish his story. Fuck off, dude. They didn't do shit. For an entire year, they didn't do anything to get us more captivated than we could have been at Mania 39. And that's the reality. And bro, this company knows that because of this lawsuit, because of the injuries, they knew that Cody and Roman at Mania was not going to deliver or overshadow those headlines. They know that. And you know who else knows that, Brian? Cody Rhodes. He fucking knows that, dude. That, like, Cody Rhodes, and I've stated before, he's never even wanted to mention this freaking story. Ever. He doesn't even want to acknowledge it. Again, no pun intended. He never even wants to acknowledge the story because he knows it's been rammed into a wall for freaking weeks. And now because The Rock is back, because we just don't like part-timers, and we for some reason think that this is going to be a shit match, like, you're bullshitting me and you're bullshitting yourself. Because, guys, it's not just having The Rock and Roman just to have Rock and Roman. There's a story to be told here. There's a bigger story than trying to finish the story. Would you rather just finish a story, or would you rather tell the bigger story? That's Roman and Rock at WrestleMania for the head of the table, for the tribal chief. You have one person that for 3 to 4 years believed in himself that he was actually the provider of family. But then The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, finally steps in and says, it's time to put an end to this. You're not the tribal chief. You're not the provider of the family. It's time that it's about time that somebody finally stops you. And I'm going to do that at Mania. That's the story, dude. That's goosebumps, bro. Yep. Like, my blood is boiling, Brian, that a lot of fans just, because I don't know if they're just diehard Cody Rhodes fans or they're just Cody Rhodes marks. I don't fucking know. It boggles my mind that we don't see enough of the business side and what is sitting in their lap and what's standing right in front of your face. Listen, I get it. This was not done well. I get it. Cody Rhodes, what was the point of him winning the Royal Rumble the last 2 Manias?
And pointing straight at Roman. Like, you know,
right, pointing to Roman. Guys, I get it. But guys, it's not just been this past few weeks. It's been this entire calendar year, because they fucked up ever since Mania 39. And that is the freaking reality. And they know that. Cody Rhodes knows that. And if you're honest with yourself, you watching at home freaking know that as well. Whew, Brian, your thoughts. Your final thoughts.
I mean, we said, like, even before, you know, these injuries and the McMahon stuff, like, even like we've been saying for a while now, like, any way you cut it, Rock Roman is just bigger, more money. Title, no title, tribal chief, however way you cut it, it doesn't matter.
It's not even more money. I mean, this company's making record revenue right now. It's not even about the money, Brian. And I said about this. And again, shout out to Richie Mars. I talked about this. It's not even about the money. They're making record revenue. It's just what's going to be more mainstream. What's going to deliver more eyeballs? What's going to deliver more interest? What's the bigger story? It's Rock and it's Roman. Like, you can't fake that feeling that you had at Mania 39 last year. You can't, because they did nothing this entire fucking year. And if they did, it was not enough to get you invested. It just wasn't. This entire thing has been botched for an entire year, and that's it. But yeah, Brian, continue.
Yeah, just it doesn't matter if it's part-time, full-time, championship, tribal chief, whatever. The most eyeballs, the most money, the most intrigue, the better story, any metric you want to use, Rock and Roman is just better than Cody Roman. It just is.
Facts. Yeah.
And like I said, too, you know, I would like to know how long Rock is really going to be an in-ring performer, because that matters. Because if it's just like a part-time thing, then I say, yeah, just have it. Don't even, the title's unnecessary. It's just head of the table. If he's going to be there for a year, whatever, performing in ring, then sure, have the title, whatever. That's fine. But the bigger story is the head of the table. That's what matters more.
Yeah.
And with Cody, look, shout out to Cody on being a professional, a stand-up dude, because that's, look, we're just sitting here as fans, and, you know, we really have no stake in the game or whatever. That's got to be a tough pill to swallow, man.
I'm sure.
You know,
I'm sure, yeah.
You know, so just him, the human being, and what. Look, I really, whenever it happens, I am there for that moment. Whenever Cody wins that title, his dad never won. Whenever, I don't know. It's going to be an emotional moment. I'm going to be happy. Fuck, I'll probably cry. Honestly, but I don't know if it can ever get back to what it was.
Yeah, and that's
And
the problem.
that's just where we're at.
Yeah,
Like I said, the Rock at Mania, that's of course he's going to be at Mania, man. Of course that's the main event. It's unfortunate how things played out, but you know, God willing, you know, Cody again, injury, and even not just injury, right? You still got a bank on for the next year, right? If we're talking about getting to Mania for Cody next year,
yeah,
you still got a bank on no injuries. And look, from time to time, look, LA Knight came out of nowhere, right? There's people that come out of nowhere, and now you got to fit these stories in, and things change.
yeah.
So, however we get there, I'm there for that moment when Cody gets there, 100%. But
Mhm.
for this year, yeah, it's Rock Roman.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, and my how I view it, it really depends on how much Rock is going to be there in ring. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's and I agree with it. And I've spoken about that too. In regards to, again, being on doing collaborations with other again, amazing people that I've met in this wrestling community. I've said the same thing. The only thing that can hinder is how much is Roman and Rock going to be here to tell that story. There's no doubt that's a concern. Absolutely. It's just, man, go ahead, Brian.
yeah. It's one more thing, like, and we're all, or I'm talking at least for me, assuming that Rock wins that match.
Yeah.
What if Rock loses and it's used as a moment to put Roman over even more?
Hmm.
What if they use it for that, man? I mean,
Yeah. And
there's
again,
no guarantee that. I mean, I think he probably would be winning at Mania,
uh-huh.
but I mean, if you're trying to get Roman to pass Hogan and whatever, have
Yeah.
to have that also is going to elevate Roman to say like, hey, I told you I was the fucking head of the table, and what just happened? I am the
Hmm.
head of the table now.
Hmm.
So yeah, that could go down that way.
And I'm sure we could be having a completely different conversation if this injury to Punk and this injury to Rollins was
Never
never
happened.
never
Right.
happened.
Yep.
Obviously, I feel like that Roman and Cody was in the plans,
Yep.
and because of these injuries, they caught a massive audible. But honestly, guys, it is the best audible they could have called, because the only way, as of this point now, and I'm sure everybody understands this to a T, the only way you could get the eyeballs off of Vince McMahon and this lawsuit,
Absolutely.
all of these injuries, and that is Rock and Roman this year at Mania. You got 2 months, 2+ months to build this thing up. And I
Hmm.
promise you, Brian, and again, it all does come down to how often they going to be here to tell that story. 100%, absolutely. But when they do tell that story, it is going to be fucking magic.
Oh
It's going to
yeah.
be magic.
Yep.
And I am going to enjoy the freaking ride. And listen, you are looking, guys, at one of the biggest Cody Rhodes supporters. I was itching more than anybody. When everybody was pandering over struggle and adversity, I was the only guy, as well as you, Brian, and a few others, to say, nah, he's got to win that championship at WrestleMania 39, because Roman was going to go on his part-time schedule, and
Yep.
everything that he was going to do up until that point never called for the title to ever be involved. But for Cody to feud with Brock, with Cody to feud with Judgment Day, and the likes of others, always would have called for him to hold on to that championship. And I get it. Fans would have turned on him. They would have done this and that. Guys, it would have happened regardless. But guess what? Things would have made more sense, and we wouldn't be in this position today.
Yep.
And that's it.
And now we're gonna get 6 months to a year of Cody defending the other championship.
The other
Like that's what we're gonna get for
the
sure.
Cody, the Dusty title, the freaking Dusty title.
How are people calling that the Dusty title? That's not the Dusty title. The one that Rollins has, that's not the
It's,
Dusty title. Are people
I
saying
don't
that's the
even
Dusty title? Because the
like the
Dusty
Dusty. Yeah,
title is the
that's what
one
I'm
that
hearing. The
Roman
Dusty
has.
title. Right. Well,
See,
there. Well,
okay, so Rollins said this thing in his promo, which, god damn it, like, man, if you got to parse this shit out for like the rest of the internet fucking people, fuck, man. So Rollins said this shit, and he was saying that I'm the workhorse. This is the Dusty title because I'm the workhorse.
mm-hmm.
But it's not the Dusty title. the one that Roman has is the title that Dusty never won.
Mm-hmm.
Rollins is just
because that's the
saying,
story,
right?
The story is not the capture of the World Heavyweight Championship. It's the WWE Championship, the title that his father never fucking held.
Yeah.
So,
Rollins Championship has nothing to do with Dusty Rhodes at fucking all. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And trust me, I am definitely not happy with what they've been doing with Cody. I haven't liked it since he's lost at Mania, and this just is tenfold of throwing him now with Seth Rollins that has nothing to do with finishing the story or anything like that ever. But here we are. Unfortunately, a lot of stuff has escalated, like I said, with this lawsuit, injuries, and WWE. They had to call a massive audible, and that audible was The Rock to face Roman at WrestleMania 40. And listen, if you don't like that, if you're a Cody Rhodes fan, if you've been bitching and
we
crying,
are too, man.
And to a degree, we're upset too. I don't want to get that twisted. We're upset with Cody too. But if you're telling us that the audible is for us to have Roman and Rock at Mania, how am I going to bitch? Sign me up. How am I going to bitch and moan about that? Right. I am going to kick my feet up, put my hands over my head, and I'm going to freaking enjoy this freaking ride, man.
Absolutely.
So, and if you guys don't like that, well, we got 2 words for you. Tough
suck
shit.
It.
Tough shit and suck it. Both. Or if you want to say both. But it's tough shit. I'm sorry. It's tough freaking shit, man. I get it. If you like Cody, you're a fan. You don't like part-timers. You think Cody Rhodes got screwed, and you're not wrong to a degree. But guess what? Tough shit.
Yep.
That's what it is, man. And I'm just going to end it with that. So, man, what an episode. What a episode of SmackDown, I should say as well. But thank you guys.
That was an episode. Yep.
It was something, man. It was something, but freaking, there was a lots to talk about here. And again, I'm sure we'll get into AEW at some point, more further in depth with AEW at some point, but man, we couldn't let anything that's transpired that happened last night just pushed underneath the rug. We had to discuss all of it. That includes Bayley and Io. That includes Logan Paul. That includes Tiffany Stratton and Braun Breaker and others. Man. This was
Jade. Yep.
Absolutely. This was, man, and I will say, like, in this was a SmackDown show. Like you mentioned it, Brian, not too long ago. This was a very intriguing, dare I say, a good show.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, if you had that little tag, like fatal 4-way tag or whatever, and it is what it is with that. I mean, with Butch, or not Butch, Pete Dunne. Thank God he's freaking Pete Dunne, as well as Tyler Bate, and they're going to go after tag titles. Don't know how much I like that because the Judgment Day are probably going to walk into Mania as champions, so they're probably going to take the L with that. You know, they're starting up. You know, we have Santos and his stable, along with LWO, Carlito, and probably a potential returning Rey Mysterio at some point. So
let me say this too. If you that little vignette they had with Santos, Legado
that was decent.
That was good. That was good,
decent.
man.
That was decent.
Yep.
That was very, very decent. You know, and again, I'll give that a chance to see where it goes with Elektra Lopez being a part of that stable, and hopefully that starts to, you know, we got the ball rolling with Bayley and Io. Now we need Rey Mysterio to come back or add some extra layer with that, because I think it's evident that Santos and Rey will have that matchup at Mania. So
LWO is dropped, right? There's nobody calling themselves LWO, right? They're back to Legado del Fantasma.
Well, with Selena Vega and frickin' I don't even know what those other two names are.
Yeah.
I apologize. That's how irrelevant they are, guys. It's that bad. But they're pretty much still known as LWO, and then you have
and Rey will come back and probably join up with them. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So with Carlito and everybody else and everything. So hopefully that starts to kick into high gear, because I feel like we've been in cruise control with that. But that segment was decent. That little segment thing they had, it was decent. It was okay. It was decent. Nothing bad about it. It was decent. It was cool. But yeah, man, we'll see, man. We're on some type of a roller coaster, Brian, when it comes to WrestleMania. It's been one of these. The past couple weeks, it's been this, but then now we're starting to go back up a little bit, just a little bit though. And now we will see, as we get closer to Elimination Chamber, seeing how all of this unfolds in the near future. But thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of the Ruthless Talk podcast. Our next episode, we are back next Wednesday. To see the fallout with Monday Night Raw with Braun Breaker. I'm sure you're going to see Braun Breaker on Monday Night Raw. Maybe Jade Cargill as well. Who knows? I mean, again, we talked about Cargill probably being a part of the Raw roster, as that's probably, when it comes to Nia Jax and telling a potential story with Jax, that could be pretty much evident. But we shall see, man. So we're going to see in regards to that. We'll talk all about that. And yes, I promise y'all, we're going to get to AEW in regards to Revolution, especially when we do get to Revolution. We will talk about that for sure in regards to Dynamite and in regards to Undisputed Kingdom, and as well as MJF. And who knows when MJF is going to come back in regards to AEW, or again, just throwing that out there, maybe he does go to World Wrestling Entertainment. I don't know how likely that is, but we shall soon find out in regards to it. But thank you guys so much for always tuning in. This was a crazy episode, but we wouldn't have it any other way. A lot of stuff to talk about, and there's going to be more stuff to talk about. So make sure you guys follow us. You see that banner once again down below, both Instagram and TikTok. That is Ruthless_Talk. Of course, you can watch here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you are watching this platform, as well as on our YouTube channel. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's get to our subscribers. Let's get to 75, man. We're well past 50.
Yes, sir.
Let's get to 75 subscribers, and maybe potentially, dare I say, freaking 100, bro. I know that's ballsy for me to say because we're only somewhat past 50, but hey, man, just spread the word. This is the wrestling platform to be on. Like I always say, since day one, we just want to build a wrestling community that everybody can be proud of, and just having a community filled with passionate, just wrestling fans that just love this industry. And that's it, man. So Brian, your final thoughts, man, before we end the show.
Man, I'm just, excited here for the next 2 months, particularly with WWE. I mean, just again, with the new arrivals, you got Stratton, Cargill, Braun Breaker. They're obviously all going to be at Mania.
Yeah.
Who and how that pans out is still yet to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
And we know now the two main events, man. So it is what it is. I think they'll both be incredible matches. The story between Rock and Roman is like no other in the wrestling world. Like, as I mentioned a couple weekends or shows ago, like, this is their generational. This is the family trade. So yeah, that's freaking awesome, man. And I'm looking at the date here, February 3rd. We got exactly 1 month until Revolution. So again, anybody out there in the internets, you want to send your boys to Revolution, please share the love, man. Share the love. Just wrestling fans trying to get there, man.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. By the way, speaking of tickets and speaking of a wrestling event, so next week, SmackDown is going to be in Charlotte.
Yep.
Here's what I want to say. WWE, you couldn't have pushed this shit back like another week, bro. What the fuck are we doing? The Rock didn't want to come to Charlotte. Like, we didn't want to do all of this. Freaking just push it just one more week, bro. Just
I'd say it's very unlikely you're going to get Roman and The Rock 2 weekends in a row.
They're probably not going to show up. And I'm just like, well, fuck. So your boy shit out of luck, but there's
a lot going on, man.
There's
so hopefully it's going to be
there's a lot going on, and your boy will be at that show. I will be at SmackDown next week. So make sure you guys follow along on social media, as I will be posting some good content for you guys. Bunch of stuff on our social media. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that for SmackDown. And again, we will be talking SmackDown as well next week. So stay tuned for it, man. We got Revolution, we got the Chamber, and we got Mania coming up. So lots to discuss and a lot more chaos to come. So that is going to do it for today's episode, everybody. My name is James Porcelli.
I'm Brian Thomas.
And until next time, and there will be a next time, your boys are signing off saying salute.
Peace out.
And take care, everybody.
Let the body hit the floor. Let the body hit the floor. Let the body